Hello and welcome to John's Author Diary for the weekend in February the 11th, 2018. I've had a really productive week. I finished the first draft of the Black Death trilogy. So I've got my contribution to 3 books, waiting now for the rewrite. So I'll let those simmer for a couple of weeks before I go back to them. I've also gone over the audiobook for King of the Wasteland, which is the 3rd book in my Wasteland series. And it's at a point now where I've submitted it to Audible for publication. So pending their review, it should be live in a few days. I was really happy with Ian Coleman's narration. I think his voice adds a different dimension to my work, which I think is good for conveying the story in a different format. I can talk for days, but I don't think I would be able to read an audiobook with the inflections and characters, giving different people different voices, that kind of thing. So as well as my fiction writing, I've also been offered a freelance gig with The Guardian. They essentially want me to do an opinion piece about guide dogs, following a recent video that went viral, which showed a guide dog owner and his dog on the escalators of the London Underground and someone insisting that they get to shove past them. So me, with my business head on, I thought there's probably a way that I can reach a wider audience with my forthcoming novel, Blind Gambit. Now, I'm still halfway through the first draft, but because of having this opportunity to talk about the experience of being visually impaired to a large audience, I've put a little note at the end of the article as a little bio saying who I am and a line about the book. So what I've had to do is put Blind Gambit on pre-order. So I now have a release date. It's going to be May the 10th. This means I need to get the draft done and in a good state by the middle of March so I can get it redrafted and edited before that date. Now, I work really well when it comes to deadlines. I think they always have motivated me. This is why I worked well when I was a journalist. And I realised I've been working on this manuscript probably for nearly a year now, so it's going to be good to give it that final push because there's always been other things that I can do before doing this. And it has been a hard write. It's been a bit of a slog because of the emotional rawness of some of the things that I'm dealing with. And because of it being an international audience as well at The Guardian, I'm putting the book up on places like Kobo and Apple iBooks. So this will be the first release that I'm doing, which isn't exclusive to Amazon. So it won't be part of their Kindle Unlimited scheme. It will be just a general release. And I'm hoping that that will bring in some new readers and get more eyes on what I'm doing. I'm still reading Brandon Sanderson's Words of Radiance. I've got about 2 hours left, so I'm nearly there. It's taken a while to read this. I also finished Ian Banks's The State of the Art short story collection this week, and I admit I got a bit maudlin about it because Ian Banks died a few years ago and he was an amazing talent. He died too young. I love his writing. I think he had a tremendous imagination. And on the one hand, it's great that we've got this legacy. We've got all these books that he wrote in several different genres. But at the same time, it's now a closed book. His life's over and there's nothing new to come. And I think what that has done has given me a bit of a strange drive that I want to put out as many good books as I can because you never know what is around the corner. I've got a few questions this week. Sarah asked, how do you come up with your characters? This is a difficult one because I think every time I do, it's a different type of thought process that goes into it. When I came up with my character Abel in my Wasteland series, I started with his flaws. So, for example, he has been a drug addict. He's occasionally suicidal. He's also trying to work through his own relationship to things like religion and his place in the world. What I find really useful when I come up with a character is to write a short story from that character's perspective or about that character. This way I can get in tune with their voice and how it will read on the page, and that's a really useful process for me. E.M. Swift Hook asked, how does where you live figure into your writing? I think where you live has a profound effect on what you write, and all your experience of places you live also filter into what you do as a writer. So in my Black Death series, it's set in places that I've lived. So we go from Wolverhampton to Leeds and Morecambe. They travel along the M6, which is a motorway that I've been down far too many times and I'd like to have. Between moving to Morecambe from Leeds, we stayed with my mother-in-law for about a year, and she lives in this place in Cumbria, tiny little village. Nearest shop is 3 miles away. There's no footpaths. No street lights. It's very isolated. It's cold. It's desolate. And that's what I was looking at when I was writing my Wasteland books. So there's a scene in my Wasteland books where they go down this road carpeted by rotten apples. And I actually had this. I experienced this myself. So I got the smell. I got the tiny bugs flying around. I got the squashy feeling of the apples exploding beneath footsteps. And now where I live in Morecambe, I'm by the sea. I'm starting to get inspired by the coast, by the waves, by the sound and smells. And so with this fantasy series that I'm outlining at the moment, a lot of it is set around the sea. So I think, yeah, the influence of place on my writing is quite a major one. Angela Wiggins sent me 3 questions that are specifically about my Wasteland books. First question she asked is, what is ples? Now, within my Wasteland series, drugs and addiction are one of the main themes, and the drug within the world is called ples. Now, I've never been specific about what the drug actually is, but when I was coming up with the ideas for it, it was essentially a crystalline drug that you smoke that's a stimulant, something along the lines of a crystal meth or crack cocaine, something like that. And the word ples came from me typing different words into Google Translate and seeing what the sounds of things I liked. And I think plezara, I think it was the word. I can't remember which language it was. It might have been Spanish, I don't know. But I like that sound, the ples in that. So I took that and that became the drug in my Wasteland series. Okay, second question. What is the difference between the grid and the city? The grid and the city are about 70 miles apart within the world. I see the grid as something like an old junkyard or a big car park where lots of cars are left and people have made them their homes. The city is literally an old flooded city, and so in the second book, Night of the Wasteland, a lot of that is set around exploring the old buildings and scavenging and trying to find this boy who my main character Abel takes under his wing. And finally she asked, how did the world get destroyed? This is something within the books that the characters don't know yet, but book 4 will answer a lot of these questions, so I'm sorry, but you're going to have to wait on that one. The clues are there. If you look at the landscapes and the descriptions, you should be able to piece together what happened. So if you've got a question you want to ask, you can email me. It's john@johncronshaw.com. Promise that I'll get to them a bit quicker this time. Over this next week, I don't know what kind of writing I'm going to do. It's my son's half term from school, and I do enjoy spending time with my family, so it might be that I don't get much work done this week. So if you've not done so already, you can follow me on Facebook. It's facebook.com/JohnCronshawAuthor. If you're on Twitter, it's @JLCronshaw. And if you've not read any of my books yet, you can get the free prequel to my Wasteland series. It's called Addict of the Wasteland. Simply go to tinyurl.com/getmyprequel and I'll send the book to your inbox. So until next time, cheerio.